Since he was about 15 years old, Academy Award-winning film director Quentin Tarantino has been influenced by the novels and the work of Elmore Leonard. So it is no surprise that Tarantino turned to Leonard's book, Rum Punch, for the follow-up to his groundbreaking film, Pulp Fiction. His new movie is called Jackie Brown, and here's a clip.
Yes or no? Is she there?
Pretty much. Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown.
It's Quentin Tarantino, and it's a pleasure to have him back on this broadcast since Pulp Fiction was released. Welcome back.
It's really good to be back at the table.
Thank you, thank you. We had a terrific response from Pulp Fiction and from the interview you did with us.
Oh, I've always considered that like the best filmed interview I've ever done. I mean, far and away, actually.
Thank you. Tell me about this film and coming to it, and what was it about Elmore Leonard's Rum Punch that made you want to make it into a movie?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I've always wanted to do. Every time I read an Elmore Leonard novel, I'm kind of adapting in my head how I would do it. And I have a little list, a little piece of paper, and I'll write down ideas for casting and everything, and kind of like start adapting it in my mind. Every one I do that with. And I'd actually read this book somewhere in between galleys and actually being published of Rum Punch just before I was getting ready, like as I was just finishing up the script for Pulp Fiction. Right. And I read it and I was like, I was really interested in doing it. I just kind of saw the movie in my head, and I liked the idea of the female lead character, and I liked the characters in it. And I brought it up to do it, and then it was one of those things where it's like, you know, they'd have to like take it off the market, and I would have to be for sure that's what I would do after Pulp Fiction. And no director can really say, oh, I'm going to do this after that, because you don't know. So we let it go. And then it kind of ended up coming back way after the fact, after Pulp Fiction was made, and way after Pulp Fiction. And then I just read the book again just to read it again. And the same movie came back in front of me again. And I was like, that's a sign. I want to do this. This is speaking to me.
Did you see Pam Grier from the beginning, or did that come to you late?
It came to me... If the time in between deciding I wanted to do it as a movie and writing the script is the middle, then it came in the middle. Yeah. Because what I did is I just read the book, and I actually didn't fantasize about an actress. I just kind of saw Jackie as the character in the book. Yeah. And then after I read the book, I started like thinking, which is actually rare for me, because normally I try to put an actor's face to it, even if it's an actor I don't end up not
when
using.
When you're writing a screenplay.
Well, just when I'm like reading the book, right. If I'm reading a novel or it's reading a script or something. So then when I started like trying to solidify what I wanted to do with this movie, I started thinking of who could play this character. And, you know, she needed to be in her mid-40s. That was something that needed to have happen, all right? Because it's the first thing that mostly anybody else adapting the novel would get rid of. They'd make her like 32 or something like that. And it's such a major focus of why the character does what she does. And so I started thinking of, and I've said this a few times, and it's kind of a funny thing, but it's actually the truth. I said, okay, who is an actress that's in her mid-40s, that looks like she's in her mid-30s, is, you know, just great looking, you know, just has got strength in her look as well as looking good. And also just looks like she could handle anything. Yeah. You know, one of the main reasons that Jackie's able to pull off a lot of the things she's able to pull off is she's not a criminal. She's a regular regular person, regular citizen. Put amongst cops really pushing her, put amongst crooks, deadly crooks, really putting the bite on her, and she always manages to keep her cool. And it's the fact that she keeps her cool that kind of keeps them like this. And I go, that sounds like Pam Grier. Yeah. Pam Grier could do that. That's what Pam Grier does. And then, upon thinking of that idea, any other actress I'd even kind of halfway thought of just kind of went away. They just couldn't stand up to the power of what Pam Grier would do with this role.
And you called her?
No, I didn't right away. I wanted to write it first. I actually, I didn't talk to her the entire time I was writing the script, and it took me about a year to write the script. So I'm turning it into a black woman and everything. Character's the same, but she's a different person, virtue of life experiences. And I can write black characters, so I'm like, and I actually know mature black women very well, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. So I was really enjoying putting that aspect into the character. And so I'm writing the character, and about like 3 months before I'm finished writing it, and I'm talking about after a year of writing, all right, I bump into Pam at like this science fiction award ceremony. She was there with Escape from L.A., and I was there with Dust Alone. And so like I see her, and I've really been writing so much and just haven't been telling her. I was just playing it cool. Normally I just blurt it out, but this time I'm going to play it cool, all right? And I see her at the place, you know, and I go, Pam, and I'm playing it way cool at this point. I'm like, you know, Pam, I'm writing a little something for you in my next movie. Think you're going to like it. That's all I'm going to say about it, all right? And then she goes, oh, man, things are going really good with me. You know, I just did Escape from L.A., and I just got hired by Tim Burton to do a part in Mars Attacks, and, you know, things are going real good, you know. And I go, screw that mess. Wait till you read what I got for you.
This is not a
I ain't gonna say anything. That's all I'm gonna say. But just screw that mess, and you just wait.
Just be ready.
Be ready. All right. And she goes, okay. You know. And then literally about 3 months later, I finished it and sent it to her.
And what'd she say?
Well, I also screwed with her there too, because I still didn't let her know right away. What I let her know I was writing something, but the way I said it so it'd have the most impact is I said, okay, Pam, I'm going to send you a script. Didn't mention the title. I'm going to send you the script. Look at the character Jackie Brown. Okay, I'm just going to send you the script, all right? And then I send it like regular mail, even as opposed to FedEx, all right? So she comes and she opens up this script and it says Jackie Brown, with a little post-it, read Jackie Brown. You know, and she loved it. She loved it. And like I said, the first thing I said to her, to tell you the truth, after she read it was, I said, you know, you've got the part, and we kind of talked about that for a while, and then we got down in this one big major phone conversation, you know, got down to the actual nuts and bolts towards the very end of it. And I just, you know, and I said, now look, a lot of people are going to come to you, and they're going to start talking this John Travolta business and everything, and you can't pay any attention to any of that. All right? This is not about that. This is about you being the perfect actress to play this role, and that's why you're getting cast. Not because you won some 70s revival contest, all right? Because you're the best actress to play this part, all right? And you can't think about any of that. We just got to get to work and just make Jackie Brown come alive. And then she came back with the greatest response. She goes, I ain't expecting nothing that John Travolta got, because he's a 40-year-old white male, and I'm a mid-40s black woman, and they don't write the same parts for us.
When you did Travolta, when you brought him in for Pulp Fiction, did you have any sense that you wanted to recreate his career, or you wanted to bring his career back? Or was it just, this is as it is with her, he's the right actor for the role, and whatever happens will happen? Well,
it's like, I wanted the later. I mean, it was the later. I was just casting the right actor for the right role. Yeah. I wanted him to come back in a big way. That would be fantastic. You
know? You didn't go out on a mission to, I love John Travolta, and I'm going to make him.
No. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, oh gosh, I'm trying to find the best way to put it. You know, it's like, you know, that's like, me and Mira started going out with each other when just a little bit before she got nominated for the Oscar. Yeah. I didn't go out with her because I thought she was going to win the Oscar. Yeah. But it's pretty damn great that she won the Oscar. All right? That's like fantastic. I'm so happy for her. I couldn't want anything more. All right? And I would send out every positive thing towards that. But no, I casted him as an actor to do like the role. You know, but I wanted him to fulfill his destiny. Just because I like watching him as an actor.
You thought he had a destiny. Yeah. I mean, you thought this guy's much better than the roles he's getting.
Oh, yeah. People just have bad memories. And it's a damn shame. I mean, but it's really funny now. It's one of those things, because I did that with John, and you could, you know, argue that that Reservoir Dogs helped Harvey Keitel's career a lot, too. Right. All right? And now I've cast Pam, and I've cast Robert Forster, you know, let's face it, Pam and Robert Forster, anybody else in Hollywood adapting Rum Punch, right, probably wouldn't have cast those two people. Okay. Probably one, because they probably wouldn't have made the character black for Pam, and they probably don't even know who Robert Forster is. Yeah. All right, that's just the bottom line. All right, I didn't do that to prove, oh, I'm Mr. Cool, all right, watch me bring these people back. I did it because there's something, I think, one of the worst things that happens in Hollywood is a very uncreativeness when it comes to casting. And part of that uncreativity, that unartlessness that happens in casting, is you basically have the same names on this list that the studio makes. All right, and it's the same like list of names that are working on the high-profile films. Every once in a while, somebody else gets in there, but they usually better be young. They better be a youngster. All right, and I'm not talking about Harrison Ford and Tom Hanks. I'm talking about all the way down to the character actors, the bumbling sheriff, and the corrupt sheriff and his bumbling deputy.
There's a list for all of those kinds of roles.
Yeah, and it's like there's the high-profile character actor, and that's why when you go see Hollywood movies, you see the same big kind of more or less bigger name character actors in 5, 6 movies. All right, and what happens is, as 5 years goes on, some of them stay on that list, some of them drop off, new people come on. All right, Robert Forster didn't go anywhere. All right, he's been working, but he's way off that list, and he's like doing like straight-to-video movies and stuff. And some of those movies are okay, and some of them are even pretty good, and some of them are horrible. But he's good in all of them. Mm-hmm. All right, and the thing is, I don't have that list. I have a good memory. I know that Robert Forster's still there, and he's still kicking butt. All right, I know Pam Grier's still there, and she's still kicking butt. I've got a much longer list, and the only thing you need to be on that list is a good actor. All right, and that doesn't make me cool. It's just I just have more of a memory than most directors or most casting directors.
Okay, but suppose Harvey Weinstein came to you and said, "Look, you can, if you cast Madonna in this role, take one example, or if it's a male role and you put Hanks in the role,
right.
He's in his 40s." It'll make more money for us. So we need star power in this film. We need your brilliance as a director, but we need star power. Are you going to say, no, that's not what I do? The star power here is a Quentin Tarantino film, and that's what I'm delivering to you, and that's what made Pulp Fiction. And
Well, that conversation has happened on every one of my movies at one time or another, all right? But it's a conversation. It's not an order. It's not a dictate. I mean, it's like...
why not? It's that kind of conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like all things being equal, you know, we really think there's an excitement about you working with this fellow over here.
Yeah.
All right? And just know that if we do it with him, then, you know, we'll be able to sell the movie more overseas because of this and that and the other. Now, we'll still be able to do well with the film, but just no. And is there a reason why you don't want to use him? Don't you like him as an actor? All right? And it's like sometimes the answer is, you know what, there is no reason. He's the perfect guy for the role. All right? If I wrote a movie and Tom Hanks was the perfect guy for the role, I'd campaign. I'd get him. I'd want to. I mean, if he wanted to do it. All right? I wouldn't be like, oh, no, I want to cast Blunkety Blunk. All right? No, Tom Hanks is a fantastic actor. But in this case, one, it's like, Pam Grier's role was set. I mean, at one point it was actually even kind of funny because, like, one time somebody asked me something to the effect of, did I read her?
Yeah.
All right, and I go, well,
did she audition?
Yeah, did I audition her? You know, I go, well, you know, you don't write a Bronson movie and then ask Bronson to read.
So you're doing a Grier movie then?
Yeah.
This is a Grier movie.
I mean, I say that like affectionately. All right, it's really, I mean, it's. You know, it's not really a Pam Grier movie, but it is a Pam Grier movie in a fun way.
One more word about casting.
Sure.
De Niro's here.
Yeah.
Why De Niro? Something he wanted to do, something you wanted for him?
Something we both wanted to do together.
Wanted to work together.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like with Robert read the script and really liked the character of Lewis. Right. And I remember talking to him about it because I adore the character of Lewis. And I remember one of the things that I said to him is I said, look, I think this is one of the best acting roles I've ever written. And if I was old enough to play the guy, I'd be playing Lewis. All right, but I'm not old enough. The guy needs more age to him to make the character really work. That's what Dutch wrote. And thing is, but it's different from all the other acting roles I've ever written because it's not about dialogue. It's not about the guy saying all this like really cool stuff. It's a performance that needs to be given in body language. All right, and I remember even describing to him, I said, I want Lewis to have the body language of a pile of dirty clothes. And I happened to be talking to one of the greatest character actors in the history of the medium, all right? One of the greatest body language actors in the history of the medium. He got across those whole last 4 years in jail in the movie that he plays, which you never see him in jail ever. Yeah. But there's like a baked quality to him. It's like he doesn't even quite realize how that last 4 years kind of took something out of him. That's just all in the way he kind of holds his drink and the way he just kind of like, you know, just sits on the chair and just kind of like glazes and watches TV and just listens to people talk and has his little drink there. He gets it all across in just physical movement. And, you know, he's just a wonderful character actor.
With no instruction from you?
No, we worked together.
Minimal instruction.
Well,
a collaboration.
Yeah, very much a collaboration. Very much a collaboration. And I feel very honored about that. He wanted to, we worked very, very well together, and he knew I understood the character too. I was actually thinking about this the other day, it's like when a writer creates a character, it's like the character's your children, all right? You're its mother, its father, all right? When an actor takes the character from you, it's like they're lovers, all right? Now, ultimately, people, you know, they grow on, and ultimately it needs to be the wife, man, or whatever relationship that it needs to like make it come through, and the parents need to kind of like let it go its course. All right, but to me, when you're like really investing into a lot in character work, that's kind of the relationship, and so we did that together, completely, and it was very, very. I'm not taking credit for his work, but I'm just saying that because that's his work. I know he worked very, very well with his makeup woman. His makeup woman is like the third member of the creative team, because she's not doing makeup. Her name is Ilona. She's magnificent.
She works with him wherever he goes.
She works with him. That's what she does. She does. She
makes up De Niro.
Yeah, but it's not about vanity. It's not about making him look good. It's about character. It's about, you know, would this character have coffee stains on his teeth? You know, what color hair? How much gray in it? Any gray at all? Should the whole thing be gray? All right, you know, sideburns. What about the tattoos? It's all about character, and then it's like Bob, me, and her. And I was very lucky to be brought into that, you know, to have him so willingly bring me into that creative process with him.
And when you looked at the dailies and when you looked at the film when you were editing it, how good is he?
He deserves his reputation as possibly the greatest actor of his generation. I've come to the conclusion from editing a film that he's made, seeing every last little bit of footage, I think he is the best actor in the world.
And what makes the best actor in the world? What is it that you see there? Because in sports, you can measure it. He won 5 Masters. He was a Wimbledon champion.
Yeah.
He won the World
I know
Series.
exactly what you
He's
mean.
run the mile in 3 minutes and 57 seconds. You know, that kind of thing. What is it about the best actor?
Well, I'll tell you what I mean from my point, because you almost can't compare artists to athletes because somebody's this is not somebody's that. Having said that, I've never seen an actor so completely consume himself in character, in true character work during the work. All right, and what I mean by that is when Robert is playing Lewis and you're looking at every single solitary piece of footage you've ever shot on the man, all right, every single moment, he is Lewis, he is working moment to moment. He's not thinking about over here, I'm going to do this and this and this and I'm going to get to this. Over here doesn't exist. The only thing is right here, what's happening right now. And, you know, some acting people suggest something to the effect of like there's a zillion choices out there and any one of them is possible and any one of them is great. I actually don't believe that at all. If you are really in character, you only have a few choices. If something weird were to happen at this table right now, there's not a zillion ways Charlie Rose is going to react. There's probably about 4 ways Charlie Rose will react. All right? And De Niro has that down. He is so in character. He could be doing a scene right here, right now. If he was doing me,
he'd know the 4.
Yeah. He would. He would know the 4, and if a dog came walking onto the set, he's not going to go, oh, cut, or anything like that.
He'll do what I would do.
He'll make that work. He'll do what you would do.
Right. You want to be, over the term of your life and career, considered serious about acting.
Yes.
You don't want people to think, I do these cameo things or I play with acting as a kind of fun thing. You want to say, I can do this, and I'm going to polish, work on, develop that craft.
That's exactly true, yeah. And it's like, it's kind of blowing people's minds.
Yeah.
I don't think people either know what to make
They
of it.
don't take you seriously when you talk about acting?
Well, I actually think they are this go-around. All right, but it's the first time I've ever really talked about it, all right, in serious terms and kind of stating where I'm coming from. I think they thought I was screwing around before, all right? And, you know, I can even kind of see where they're coming from just a little bit insofar as some of the things I did early on, which I'm not ashamed of, but they were what they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be kind of comedy turns.
Why do you want to be an actor? Why do you want to act is a word, not a question why you want to be an actor.
Right, why do I want to act? Well, it's what I started doing. All right, it's like it was my first entry into show business. was acting. The only formal study I've ever had in my entire life has been acting. I quit school in the 9th grade. I didn't go to high school. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to director school. I didn't go to writing school, whatever that would be. All right? I've studied acting and I've studied boxing, and those are the only only sense of study or academia I've ever had.
And did you find anything similar about those two things, acting and boxing?
Yeah. Actually, I have. It's like about not going backwards. Going forward, and just not even so much being aggressive, but just like, not going backwards towards what you're trying to do.
Leaning in terms of acting.
Exactly. The thing is, though, look, I understand that. I understand people might think that, but you know what, though? I don't have to worry about that because I'm going to be here for a little while. And yeah, I'm probably not going to get any respect for it for maybe the next year, 2 years, who knows. But I'm going to keep doing it. All right, and then eventually, if the work is standing up, people will not be able to help but see the work. But I say that, and I sound a little weird when I say that to me, my own self, because I sound a little defensive, and it's only the media. It's not other actors. I have got nothing but encouragement from other actors. Other actors respect my work that I did in Dusk Till Dawn. They like the work. Other filmmakers like my work that I did. They like that, and they're looking forward to me to do something else. And they like that I'm not letting Entertainment Weekly, right, because they might write a snotty thing about me, that I'm not going to stop. Mira supports me all the way down the line on this, and it's so great.
Has she changed you, Mira Sorvino, your lady? Has she changed you at all? Has she? I mean, are you, because of her in your life, in any way different? Have you mellowed? Have you done anything different? Are you more driven, more in touch, more anything?
I think what she did for me, I think it was something. I think also it was wonderful timing. It was something that I think I was happening in me anyway, just as a function of time. And I just happened to have just the right lady come in there to make the process even smoother and even deeper and go a little further with it than I would have maybe on my own. I'm just a man now. Yeah. I held on to my boyhood. Not even too long. I was just fine. I was a boy, a kid, and having a great time, and it was all good. It was all good. Yeah. All right.
And it was a hell of a ride.
Yeah, and I look at old interviews of myself and everything that I did and everything. Forget about the stuff before that. I just look at old interviews of myself, and I like that guy. That's a nice guy. All right. But I'm just a man now. It's just different. All right. And I also realize.
So it's maturity or something. The difference between.
It's maturity, it's masculinity, it's everything, and these were all things that held in reserve. But you see, I don't know how to say this other than to just say this. Mira's a real woman. She's a woman, all right, and I was coming into my own as a man, all right, and then woman met man, and woman and man got deeper. We met each other at just the right time, but she's a woman, and you got to keep up with a real woman. When you're with a real woman, you better be a real man.
And she would say the same thing, you think, in terms of understanding the sort of dynamics of this relationship?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think so. But you'd have to ask her.
I will. She's Clint Eastwood for you. As you look in terms of body of work, which is a word that comes to you now, and you think about that, you know you're established, you know that you have something going, you know you've got talent, craft, vision, screen, and abilities in a variety of the disciplines that make a film. Eastwood, you admire because?
Well, actually, what I admire the most about Clint Eastwood, all right, is the fact that he's an artist, and he's an artist who has managed to control his own world with a patron studio.
Warner's.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. All right. He has a very unique situation at Warner Brothers. Now, there's other filmmakers that have unique situations. Martin Scorsese could set up a situation like that pretty much at any place, and that he'd be doing his thing. All right. And Woody Allen has that relationship with whoever he works with, but Eastwood is a little different. Because Eastwood has a situation with Warner Brothers, and it's lasted for a long time, all right, and it's been profitable for them for a long time. And he has like a responsibility that you just don't see in other filmmakers as far as his relationship to Warner Brothers. They're family. There's just no 2, 3, 4 ways about it. Okay, Clint Eastwood is a member of the Warner Brothers family, all right? And at the end of the day, he's as important as anybody at Warner Brothers. And it doesn't matter if his last film was a hit or not.
Back to this movie, because I want to move on to a lot of other things. When you're making this movie, you've written your script, you've given it to Miramax. This is the script I'm working on. This is the script. This is it, guys. We're going.
Right.
We've cast this thing. We've got De Niro. We've got Pam Grier. We've got Forster. We've got
Bridget Fonda.
We've got Bridget Fonda in this.
Michael Keaton.
And Michael Keaton is in this. And so we're ready to go. What's it like once you start? You get up in the morning and you go shoot. You've got your shooting schedule there. Did you come in on time for this film?
Oh, yeah. We always finish on time.
Not over budget?
No, not at all. Actually, a little under budget, actually.
What do you do other than make the film while you're making a film?
Well, you know, it's funny because I directed this film a little differently than I've directed my other movies. And I think it was partly due to the influence that acting's had on me recently, just thinking about it a lot. When I was talking about De Niro, we were talking about the whole thing of being moment to moment. All right, and not being result-oriented. It's about just where you're going while you're at that moment. And I showed up on the set. I'd show up on the set, and I did this a lot in the first 2 weeks, and then finally it was just completely my way of working, is I'd show up on the set with not a shot list or no storyboards or anything like that. All right, I mean, for like a really big cinematic sequence, like I knew I wanted to have that crane shot and that stuff with Ordell and Beaumont, you know, in the trunk. Or I knew that. I needed a crane for that day because you got to tell them, got to be a crane there. But aside from that, if most of the just acting scenes, I'd show up first thing in the day, and I wouldn't have a shot list. We didn't know exactly what we were going to do. All right, we'd just go on the set, and we all shot on location. And then me and the actors would walk through the scene. The crew was gone except for maybe the cinematographer, and we'd just kind of go through the scene. All right, and we would see where we were that day. Yeah, we had 2 weeks of rehearsal, but nothing was ridiculously said unless it was super important. And we just kind of found it. Very no pressure, just discovered it that day. All right, so then we did that. And then once you do that, especially when you're talking about an acting scene, how to cover the film becomes fairly obvious. You know, where's the best place to put the camera to get the most out of what the people are doing. So then you send the guys off to makeup, and then I would do the shot list, and then I knew after about a couple hours or an hour and a half or so, actually about an hour and a half, you know, from the moment set officially started, I'd know what I wanted to do that day. And I liked working that way. It's like directing moment to moment. I'm not dragging, I always make fun of people who do all this work in their bedroom, right, you know, with a shot list, or even actors practicing how they're going to do this and that. You got to leave the bedroom at home, all right? You know, and as an actor, what you want, you know, and some actors are different, but like, you know, what I like is my method is to just invest in the character and don't worry about the text. Just invest in the character, and when you show up, you're the character, and there you go. Same thing as a director, but instead of investing in character, you're investing in the text. You're trusting the fact that you know this piece of material. Yeah. So now it's up on its feet.
Name me 5 living. The list is not just 5, but name me 5 living directors that could teach you something about directing.
Steven Spielberg.
Because?
He's just such a perfect filmmaker as far as, like, you know, when he comes up, you know, like the Taking of Shanghai sequence, for instance, in Empire of the Sun, and I talked to him about Private Ryan. He goes, "Oh, we're going to create the greatest, like, taking of Omaha Beach ever," and I have no doubt he will. All right, he's just a master movie maker. This is a film
he's making now.
Exactly, this one coming out, you know, and I'm sure he's going to do the greatest taking of Omaha Beach ever captured in cinema, on film ever. You know, that kind of filmmaking language, I think I've got it too, but in a different way. But I could learn something from him. Okay. I could definitely learn something from him.
Spielberg is one.
Spielberg would be one. I think I could learn things about I could learn from Scorsese, but how I could learn from Scorsese is not like how he does anything. You know what I mean? Because how he does it is how he does it, and how I do it is how I do it. But Spielberg, I mean, Scorsese is so much film and love of film. I might be a better director if I just had dinner at his house every week and we just talked. Does that make sense?
Well, of course it does, yeah.
All right, not about filmmaking per se. And I wouldn't doubt that he didn't feel that way about Fellini, too.
When Fellini died, he came on this show and talked about it.
I saw it, yeah.
Now, here's the interesting thing, is that you two share that. I've never asked Marty this, but I think other people have talked about it. In fact, women in his life have talked on this program about it. When women come into his life, he has them watch films. I mean, Dawn Steele talks about that.
Yeah.
You know, do you do the same thing? I mean, are you obsessed about movies so much? The history, the love, the differences,
I was.
composition.
Not so much anymore.
That's when you were. Before you became a man?
Well, no, I mean, I don't think there's that much of a correlation between it. I think it's more like I have some money now, and I don't have to work so much, so I can actually live a life.
Okay, all right.
All right, but no, I mean, that's a big deal, though, as far as like when you've had your eye on the prize for something for so long, and now you have it, and it's like under control. That's okay now.
Yeah.
So now I can kind of look up and see other things. Having said that, I've actually been giving Mira like a really wonderful film education. And you know what? It's educational for me, too, because I'm seeing a lot of stuff, like, you know, really old stuff, new through her eyes. I was never like the gigantic Frank Capra fan.
Right.
I've liked Frank Capra, but I've never like just thought he was the beginning and end, like some people have. Well, I knew Mira would love Frank Capra, okay? And so I started showing her some of his films, and damn if I didn't like get really sucked into his technique and his world and his, you know, his comedy and his modesty. I don't know, just everything. I rediscovered him kind of through her eyes.
So the question she asked infuses and informs how you might approach this. Back to this. When you put that there, you said this is the goal. What was that for you? What is it that enabled you? What have you achieved? And what is that so that you can look up and see other things?
Well, this was a life in film, all right? And I didn't have an education. There was like nothing. I didn't have a film school education. I didn't have any money, and I didn't have any connections. And I was like the epitome. God, it's really funny. I was looking at like some interviews I did at the time of Reservoir Dogs, and I was like, man, I can actually see why I got kind of famous from those interviews, because I was about as much of an outsider as a person could possibly be, all right? And so it was like, in order to not fall back, I needed to just focus in on what it was that I wanted for my life and my art form. And the easiest thing to do in this business, all right, in any kind of, I'm sure it's the same thing in journalism, is it's easy to settle, you know, you want this, but you settle for this. Because this is not this. This is not what you dreamed of, but it's damn close to it. Your life is still involved in it, and it's okay.
Yeah. The other thing about it is once you get this, you know, which is partly knowing you can do it, knowing that you, you know, and that's partly of a self-realization thing. You then can know how to push it towards whatever that dream is. You know that you've got sort of a gravitas, a sort of a body of things that will push you on the journey.
But what's weird about directing is there's no other art form that has this kind of situation. You can think all you want, and you can work great with actors, or you can like dream up great shots in your head that no one else has ever come up with, or you can do anything like that. But until you've actually done a movie, which means money, which means film going through camera, which means working with actors and working with a crew and running it all. All right? You don't know if you've got what it takes to do the job. You got to convince somebody to put a whole lot of people behind you and a whole lot of money to just see if you can do it.
No, but I mean, my point was including having done it, so that once you have done it, you know you can do it.
Well,
and you know you can do it better and better.
Well, that's the weird thing about it. That's the bizarre thing that I noticed on this film. It was really weird when we did Pulp Fiction, because just having done one film, our knowledge on just the experience, all right, was like staggering. This movie was even different than that. This is the movie I became a professional. I've always Jackie Brown. I've always considered myself, you know, an amateur, and I'm kind of proud of that amateur status. All right, and I had a little worrisome moment, actually, in pre-production of Jackie Brown, of like, oh my God, I'm a professional. I didn't know if I ever wanted to be a professional. All right, there was something bad in that. I didn't want to join the guild because I didn't want to be a professional. All right, I wanted to hang on to my amateur status, and right at that moment, I read Peter Bogdanovich's book. That book he wrote, his interviews with the other directors, old directors.
That was about 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, that was very shortly.
Okay.
It was just the one he just did recently.
Oh, but the devil, something with the...
No, Who the Devil Made It.
Who the Devil Made It, right.
And I got together with him. I just felt compelled to get together with him after reading the book, because here's all these old pros, and he actually knew them, you know. And so I got together with him.
Great conversation. I read it.
And I'm talking to him, and I was kind of telling him my feelings, you know. And he goes, "Oh, you know, Quentin, that's kind of how it is. You know, you're just going to have to, you know, get over that, because the truth of the matter is, after you've directed 2 movies, you kind of know how to do it. It's kind of easy. Once you've done it and you know how to do it, you know the job.
Yeah.
The not knowing the job was the big question mark.
For you?
Yeah, the first 2 times.
Yeah.
Not the art.
So now you're a professional.
Now I'm a professional.
It reminds me of Pat Riley, the basketball coach, was here once, and he said at some point he realized, you know, for a while that he was just coaching, but he wasn't invested in it. He was doing the best he could, and he was doing well.
Yeah.
And then at some point he said, I'm a lifer. This is what I do.
Yeah.
I coach basketball team. That's what I do. And I'm proud of it, and I do it very well.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to call myself a basketball coach.
Well, that's what I have to put up with when I have when I do interviews with people and everything. They go, well, do you ever just walk around and think about that video store and just pinch yourself? This is my life, all right? I'm not pinching myself for living my life, all right? This is what I do now.
Back to this movie again. When we take a look at this clip. This is from Jackie Brown. Take a look.
I'd bet that except for possibly an afro, you look exactly the way you did at 29.
Why do you like that scene?
You don't see that often in most movies, a scene like that, you know. Or
What was different about it?
Well, it's like 2 people talking fairly honestly about themselves. And there's something kind of wonderful about the relationship going on there.
And but it's also kind of basic too. I mean, so you did one cover shot.
Right. Oh, yeah, no, it's not reinventing cinema.
No. Which raises me to this question. What is it that makes a good director? What is it? I mean, is it choice of shots, or is it something much more profound and fundamental in terms of what separates boys from the men, what separates those who have genius from those who can make good movies?
At the end of the day, I just think there are certain people, you know, this is going to sound so simplistic to say this, but I think in my heart of hearts I believe it. At the end of the day, there's just some people that God touched and just said, you know what?
You're a director.
Yeah, you're supposed to make movies. Now there's other people, the theater directors and television directors and all kinds of stuff, but there's some people that it's just like, you know how to make movies be movies.
And you think that was what happened to you, and when did it happen? When did you think that thought? Or did you just know for a while that I love making movies, I love movies?
Well, I knew all through my childhood, movies were like my one thing that I just adored and loved and above all others, all right? And, I wasn't that interested in athletics or any of that stuff. I was interested in movies. And when I started studying acting and, I wanted to be an actor, so I'm hanging around all these other actors and stuff, and I realized that they didn't like movies half as much as I did, and as a matter of fact, they were pretty damn narcissistic, all right? They were just into themselves. And I seemed pure in my way of thinking about it, all right? And at a certain point, I just realized that appearing in movies wasn't enough for me, all right? I just loved them too much to simply appear in them. I wanted them to be mine, all right? I wanted to have ownership over them. I wanted to create them. And, those were, even when I was an actor, my heroes weren't other actors. My heroes were directors that I wanted to act for.
I don't want you to get away with this question. You named 2 actors. Give me 2 directors. Give me 3 others that could inform you about the craft of directing.
Well, he died just recently, but I have to mention him because actually I learned a lot from Sam Fuller.
Yeah.
All right. So much of this stuff is very instinctual. It just kind of seeps in. But I have to also say, okay, let me talk about people who I could know and what they could teach me as opposed to from osmosis. Living directors. You know, I actually think off the top of my head, those are the two that by knowing them.
Right. Spielberg, Scorsese.
Spielberg and Scorsese, yeah. I mean, I don't think I would really learn anything from Godard. I don't think I would learn anything from De Palma except how he does his set pieces, and I want to do my set pieces my way. All right, and like it'll be like and I love De Palma, but that's like learning writing from David Mamet. Well, you learn how to write like David Mamet.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can learn a lot of professional pointers, but as far as like, you know.
When you set out to choose the next movie that you were going to make, having the enormous success of Pulp Fiction, all that came raining down on you, and did you have any sense that I have got to step up to the plate this time and hit a long ball?
No, not at all.
You refused to be prisoner to what you had done.
Yeah. I was one. Everyone thinks I took a long time, and I don't look at it as taking a long time because one, from the moment Pulp Fiction won the Palme d'Or to finally when they had the Oscar ceremony, all right, it never stopped during that entire time, and that was over a year. All right, so can't do another movie or even think about another movie while this express train is going on.
Right.
All right, Robert Zemeckis didn't either. All right.
I mean, after Forrest Gump?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were in the same Super Bowl, basically. Right. You know, took all of our concentration. I'm never going to be the kind of director that does a movie a year. I want, I invest a year and a half in a movie. I want a year in return, come back, And so I took that time, and then I started writing, and I wrote the script for a year. It took me a year to write it. All right, people are saying, "What's he doing?" I'm writing. I'm doing what I do. All right, it would be a different situation if I was Richard Donner or somebody like that, and I was like looking through scripts trying to find something that I would like. Where I would be, and I talked with Paul Thomas Anderson about this, where I would
who
feel...
made Boogie Nights.
Who made the movie Boogie Nights. And he's kind of facing that now. And if I wasn't a writer, I could imagine it would be very easy to be self-conscious. All right, if I had made Seven, if I was David Fincher and I made the movie Seven, right, I could imagine I would be very precious about what I would do next. All right, and like just trying to find just the right kind of material that really spoke to me, and then because I didn't write it, you'd always be questioning it. All right, I have the luxury; I don't have to do that because it starts with a blank page with me all over again, and it's all about the work. And I never thought about Pulp Fiction like one iota while I was writing Jackie Brown. The only thing I knew is I didn't want to out-epic myself, all right? I didn't want to if I did an epic, I would literally have to make even a bigger epic than Pulp Fiction, and I thought that was kind of stupid. All right, I wanted to do a smaller film. I liked the more character-based. I wanted to go underneath Pulp Fiction. But what I think this film shows is, people basically, and you know this, they talk about my career as if I've done 6 movies, and I've done 2. People, I've seen your movies, both of them. Right? And Pulp Fiction was as different from Reservoir Dogs as Jackie Brown is different from Pulp Fiction, but you can tell I made all 3 of them. That's there. But they all have different things about them. And the feeling is, it's like, okay, now do you get it? I'm in here for the long haul, and I'm going to make individualistic movies. And you know what? My 4th one's going to be different from these 3, and my 5th one's going to be different from those 4.
I'm going to paint with different colors.
Exactly. But you'll always tell I made them, but I'm not a rock star trying to make the same album.
Is there anything that you have done? You have been in the white-hot glare of publicity since Pulp Fiction. I've read lots of stuff about you. When you look at all that, do you just say, hey, I had a great time. I've lived a good time. I've been serious about my work. I've experimented with things. Some did well, some didn't do so well. But when I look at how I've spent my time since I made Pulp Fiction and became such a cult favorite and did well at the box office in addition, I got no complaints.
Oh, not at all. Oh, it's all been wonderful. It's like, so
This is what I
movie
came
magazine
here for.
taking a swipe at me. That's not going to care. Who cares?
You want to go, and you are going to go and act in a Broadway play. Hopefully, it'll be a Broadway play.
Right.
You know, try it out of town or somewhere.
Right, exactly.
Why do you want to do that? Just because it's the acting thing?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the thing about it is, I mean, I'm not precious about it being Broadway or not, or that whole thing. That's kind of exciting, but that is not the thing. I'm just, it literally, they sent me the play, and I read it, and the part is a great part, and I know I can do this guy really well,
Yeah.
and I know it would be a great role for me, and it really was no different than that. It was just down to that. It was like, I thought I could do a really good job with this role, and I've been kind of precious about what I've done since I did my performance in Dusk Till Dawn. I was very proud. I did what I wanted to do with that. I was very proud of that work in there. And so I didn't want to do anything less than that. I wanted to do something beyond that. And I think this could be it. And to tell you the truth, I really, really like the idea of like, okay, you want to go you want to go into acting, all right, in a big way. All right, well, there's a stage. All right, you know, that's the actor's medium. It's right there, man. You know, you are there every night. All right, and there you go. And you know, who knows? It's like if it works out in this play, maybe I might like make a movie and then go back to the theater and do a part as in a play. Do another movie, go back to the theater as an actor. Do another movie, go back to another theater as an actor. You know, rather than try to be in movies or something like that. Who knows? We'll see how it goes.
What kinds of films do you see yourself making over the next 5 years? I mean, do you can see something that's similar between Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown? It feels the same. It's the conversation. It's the language. It's your language. Your language will always be there. You turn down Men in Blue, or Men in Black, whatever, Men in Black. You turn down Speed. You've turned down a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, because they didn't what?
It would be unfair to say I turned down Men in Black. I did, but I mean, it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Okay.
All right. But the thing is, though, I'm pretty self-generating. You know, it's like I'm not really in the market for like reading scripts and like falling in love with it. I want to do the stuff myself, either adapt it or be an original. You know, it's just like if you're dating. And you say, what kind of woman do you want to fall in love with? All right, you know, anytime you try to put it into words and everything, you'll be damn sure to fall in love with somebody else.
You know it when you see it, but you can't describe it.
That's it.
There is this said about you and about this film, is that Quentin somehow loves black culture, loves black music. What is that?
It's me. It's like this movie. I have different sides of me, and this movie is that side of me. I grew up completely surrounded in the '70s by black culture. Probably the greatest time of black culture in this nation's history, where it's like out in the forefront. And you know, I went to an all-black school for a long period of time. My mom was a young lady, very young lady in the early 70s. She had black boyfriends. I hung out with them. Her best friend in the world, my second mother, is a woman named Jackie Watts. She's black. The whole house was like United Nations, all right? And I just grew up completely around black culture, and it's part of me. And I'm not a visitor to it. It's part of me. It's the same way somebody goes to Paris and lives for 5, 6, 7 years, comes back to America, you put them around a bunch of French people, all right, they're just kicking it in French and, you know, and they just got it down, all right, and they're just doing their thing. That's me, except that was me through, like, my entire childhood.
And when Spike Lee comes along and says, you know, why is he using in his screenplay the N-word so much and putting it in Samuel L. Jackson's mouth, what do you say?
What I say is that's two questions, actually, all right? And you got to find out exactly which question he's asking. If he believes in his heart of hearts that I'm a racist, that's one thing. Okay, if he doesn't believe in his heart of hearts, and he knows that's not the case.
Yeah, he knows that.
All right, yeah. Okay, if he doesn't believe that, then has nothing to do with that. It's simply about me being a writer now, all right? And as a writer, I demand the right to write any character in the world that I want to write. And I demand the right to be them, I demand the right to think them, and I demand to tell the truth as I see they are. All right? And to say that I can't do that because I'm white, but the Hughes brothers can do that because they're black, that is racist. That is the heart of racism. All right? And I do not accept that. All right? If he came out with a statement and said the word nigger was used too much in Menace to Society or The Dead Presidents, then at least I still would completely disagree with him. Because as a writer, I have the right to do any damn thing I have the talent to achieve. All right? And to fail at, too. But to say that, but for him not saying that to them, but saying that to me, that is BS, and I don't have time for it. All right? And now the thing is, I can guarantee you, Ordell Roby did not lie in that movie.
He's a character played by Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, it's like he's the one that says the word nigger all the time. Well, that is how he talks, all right? And that's how that's how a segment of the black community that lives in Compton, lives in Inglewood, where this movie takes place, and lives in Carson, that is how they talk. I am telling the truth. It would not be questioned if I was black. All right, and I resent the question that I'm because I'm white. All right, I have the right to tell the truth. I do not have the right to lie. And the thing is, you know, he says if I said kike 35 different times in Mo Better Blues, they wouldn't let me make another movie again. You know, it's like, well, what are you mad at? Right? Yeah. Did you want to do that and they didn't let you? And you're going to blame me? Right? It's like, you know, he truly can't sit here. You know, he's somebody, but you know what, at the same time I'm addressing this?
Yeah.
I'm the maddest at the fact that he didn't call me personally. He talked to my partner, Lawrence, he talked to Harvey Weinstein, and then he went public, and he never called me about it. All right? And, you know, it's like, I don't want to, I just said what I said now. I'm not going to say it again about Spike Lee from here on in. The only time I'm going to talk about this again is if Spike calls me, and I'll talk to him directly about this.
Well said. It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here.
As always.
I've really been looking forward to this interview.
Thank you.